They ruined countless friendships, wrecked a couple cars, found myself in jail. Once you start with alcohol and drugs, it can turn very messy very fast. That's what helped me as a counselor when I became a drug and alcohol counselor, is because I understood where you're at right now. I get it. And I remember something, I read a poem or something, and it says, when you're walking through the storm, if you keep going, it's going to end sooner than if you turn around and try to walk back. And so I decided to push through and to make a change.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Oh, Coach, I'll call you Coach because I'm a coach, and people call us Coach, right? Coach. So, Coach, do you still get into your cages and hit balls sometimes and enjoy that, or are you done with all that?
Oh no, yeah, I don't think I'll ever stop hitting in the batting cages. I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old, and I'll never stop. I'll swing till I'm 90 years old.
Really? I think do you remember there was a batting cages in Temple City on Baldwin?
I want to say it was RBI baseball, but I'm not positive. Yes, I do remember it.
Next to Jack in the Box.
Yes.
So that's where I grew up, going to that place. I don't know. It's gone now. It's been gone for many years, right? And I forget where I went as an adult. So maybe like a decade had passed until I hit balls. And I was like, ripping them. Oh, my whole side hurt.
Oh, it's a workout. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a workout.
I didn't realize like how much it was, going to impact me. But oh man, I couldn't move right for like a week.
We get a lot of adults that come in there for date night or for a bunch of friends just to hang out and hit. And most of them say the same thing when they're leaving. Oh, I'm a little more sore than I thought I was going to be. Yeah. There's a lot of movement going into a swing.
That place, and it looks like your place from online, you don't really get to see it like soar,
No, yes. That's the downside of the batting cage. You don't get to see how far it goes or the direction and all that good stuff.
There was a place, though, I don't know if you've ever been there. I think it was called Bullwinkle's off the 10.
Yes.
And they had a batting cage, but you couldn't see it like really go far, but you got to see it go a little bit farther.
Yeah, because it was in a circle, right?
Yes, that's right.
Correctly? Yeah, so you got to hit it across.
Yeah. So that's kind of the fun too, right? When you hit something, like you get to see it fly.
I tell people all the time, baseball is the only sport where you can't buy it. So let's say I wanted to shoot basketballs. I can rent out the Staples Center. I don't know what it's called now, the IKEA Center or whatever it is. And you can go shoot and you can make a basket. You can hire your favorite receiver. I can go get Jerry Rice because I'm an old guy. He's my favorite receiver. And I can throw passes to him in the touchdown. But you can't hit a ball over the fence unless it's something you've practiced and worked at. It's one of the only sports where you can't get lucky to do something great.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, thanks for sharing that perspective. Well, before we get into your story, Coach, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the delicious pastries each and every week for our guests. They're always amazing. Go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas, and say hi to Jason and Joanna for us. He grew up right here in the SGV, graduated from South El Monte High School, played sports, coached youth teams since 1997, and never left the community behind. From South El Monte Little League to coaching football, baseball, soccer at South El Monte High School, he's poured decades into developing young athletes and being a constant presence where it matters most. Then he turned his passion into a hub for growth, building marathon batting cages in El Monte, offering hitting, fielding, and pitching drills, private coaching, and umpiring all under one roof. He's not perfect, those are his words, just a man with ADHD trying to make a way and making a big impact in South El Monte all the same. Please welcome to the show, Coach Buck, Edward Maldonado. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Russell. I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks.
so much.
I've shared so many things on this show, but my love for baseball is maybe not even one of them. I always, people know that I'm a basketball player and I played basketball most of my life, but I loved baseball growing up. Yeah. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
You know what? I hear that a lot from people. I don't know what it is about baseball. It's America's pastime, I guess, but it's just one of those games where it's enrooted in us as a history, as a nation, as a country.
Yeah.
Baseball is just one of those games.
I wish I had my old glove, that's like all worn and like I could feel that like snap, hitting in there.
Yes.
Just throwing. You can't go out and buy a glove and get that.
No. You got to have your one from your youth that reminds you of better days.
Yeah. I remember that. So, well, Coach, take us back to the beginning. What's your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
So, yes, I was born in South El Monte. I was raised here. I went to all the local schools, New Temple Elementary, Dino Shively. I found my way to South El Monte High School. When I graduated, I immediately started coaching at the high school. I was 17 years old coaching the freshman football team. I've worked in the city my whole life, Shakey's in El Monte on Peck. I used to work there as a kid. Then Triple B Sporting Clays in Rosemead. It used to be called Packmeyer's when I was a kid, and then they took it over. The majority of my life was spent in the city, and as much as I always joke, one day I'm going to run away and never come back, I love this area. I love the city. I love the people.
What was life like as a child for you growing up?
As a child, it was a little rough. My mother had schizophrenia as a child, so watching your parent talk to imaginary people is a little tough. My parents got divorced when I was young, maybe 10, 11, and it put my father in a tough spot to work a lot of hours and make way to take care of everybody. Although I am Hispanic, I look like a white kid, so growing up in my neighborhood, I got picked on and bullied growing up.
Were you like güero?
Yeah, güero. I couldn't speak no Spanish. They tried to teach me Spanish, but I was just too busy running around. I had ADHD. Maybe people didn't know about it at the time, but yeah, I couldn't sit still to save my life. I couldn't concentrate. It was difficult growing up, to say the least. You
said your mom had schizophrenia. Like, what was that like? Growing up and seeing that.
I as an adult now, I understand it, but as a child, it's very hard to comprehend when you're seeing, your mom in the corner talking to strangers, or the amount of medication that she has to take on a daily basis to function. It's hard.
And did you guys know what was going on at that time, or you were just like, this is,
I think somewhere around the time I was in 5th or 6th grade, she had her first episode, and we had to get her care for a couple days. And after that, the challenge was, how do we survive? How do we get by with a mom who's not going to be there as much for you as you would hope, or you might need her to be there for you?
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough age.
Yeah.
And did your parents divorce because of that? You don't know.
As a child, you're not sure. As an adult, I would have to say so. Like, it's hard enough to be. I mean, I'm no saint. I've been divorced twice. It's not easy to be in a relationship, and then to have your partner with a mental illness, and then you're the sole provider, and you got 2 kids, and you got bills, and it gets overwhelming for a person. So did that have a part to play in it? I would have to say so.
Did somebody try to make sense of what you were seeing in your mom when you were, that age?
I would say that my grandparents tried their best, both my father's side and my mother's side, but I think as a kid, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll never want to hear that. It's like when you go to a baseball game and one of the parents don't show up. You're not mad at the parent who didn't show up. You take it out on the parent who's there because the other person didn't show up. It's just one of those things where, yes, I get it, but I don't care. Like, it's not fair. It's not right. You have all these justifications and rationalities as a child because your knowledge is limited. Your understanding of the world is limited. As you get older, you get it. Like, oh, it was a lot. There's a lot to deal with that.
And so how did that affect your relationship with your dad at that time?
I think it made it hard on us because, he looked at me to take care of the house, help out with my mom, and I was a kid. I just wanted to run free and be me, and it made it hard on our relationship. I was not the model kid.
So I have great difficulty hearing that because I don't think there is, right? Like everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Right? And did you get diagnosed with ADHD as a child or later on in life?
I didn't get diagnosed until I was in my late 20s when I knew something was
different.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying things and getting myself into troubles or doing things, and people are looking at me, and I can see their faces staring at me like, why are you doing this? I don't know. Doesn't everybody do stuff like this? No, nobody does stuff like that.
So did you seek it out yourself, or like did someone suggest it to you? Like how did that come about?
So right around 2007, I got a DUI. And I was starting to hit what's known as rock bottom for alcoholics and drug addicts. And I went to go see the therapist for the casino, because at the time I was working at Commerce Casino as a pit boss, and we had the HR program, and they sent it. So I went to the therapist, and I said to the therapist, something wrong with me. I need some help. And we had some sessions, 3 or 4 sessions, and she's like, Edward, has it dawned on you you're not like everyone else? I said, I get that. I know. You want to take the next step? We got to get a full-time therapist. You got to start doing some more work on yourself. I said, man, it can't hurt. The way I'm going right now is not good. Something's going to break, and I don't want that to happen.
So when you got that diagnosis, did a lot of things sort of make sense to you looking back on your childhood?
Yeah, it really did. The big change and factor of me understanding better about myself was when I got fired from the casino. When I got fired from the casino, it gave me an opportunity to start over. And I went back to college. And I went to be a substance abuse counselor, and taking those classes, getting a better understanding of the human brain, the psyche, how everything affects the next thing in life. It allowed me to see a bigger picture, to get a better understanding, and to not have so much resentment towards myself. Because I was always mad that I couldn't be like everybody else. I just couldn't be calm.
Yeah, so describe that as a child, and more so speaking to that person who either had that experience or their child is going through that. Like, what was it like as a child, experiencing the world as you did?
It's one of those things where you're just trying to enjoy your day, but your enjoyment ruins somebody else's.
How so? Tell me a story about when that happened.
Well, one of the things I like to say the most is you can have as much fun as you possibly can without hurting yourself or anybody around you. Because sometimes with the mind of an ADHD guy, you come up with a good idea. Hey, let's run and jump off a bridge. and there's something about us that we can get you to believe our ideas are good ideas because we get so passionate about it. And there's nothing, what can happen? Like, there's only something good that's going to happen. It was like let's stay with starting my baseball team. So for years, I'm coaching at the city. And because of my ADHD, I will say something or do something that's going to offend somebody. And after enough time, I'll have offended a dozen or so people. Now, when I go to get the players to pick on my team, all the kids want to play for me because I'm a pretty good coach. I'm a nice guy. I have fun. Oh, yeah, I yell a little, and the parents, it bugs them, and I'm hard on kids, and it's not fair. But my goal is coming from a good place. So maybe everybody doesn't want to play for me. because the moms and the dads aren't a fan of mine, or I make their kid nervous, whatever it may be. So I tell people I'll start my own team outside of the park and do my own thing with people that don't dislike me, with kids that do appreciate me. And people laughed at me. And they said, there's no one who wants to play for you. No, who's going to join your team? I said, I don't know. I'm going to ask. I'm going to try. What's the worst that's going to happen? People don't show up. Okay, no big deal. So I asked, and 15 kids showed up the next day. So, all you guys want to play for me? Yeah. You know how I yell? Yes. Okay, let's go have some fun then. And I'm telling you right now, we're not going to win a lot of games. But we're going to look good, we're going to have some fun, and you're going to get better. And we got going. And it just, even as a kid, like if I came up with an idea, some way, somehow, it tended to work out.
That was sort of a tangent from my original question. I sort of want to go back to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm.
It's the ADHD.
Yeah, it's okay. So, what was it like as a child? You know, looking back and seeing how you were, not being different as a child. What were some of those experiences?
I got in trouble a lot.
In trouble?
I got
like
in
at
trouble
school?
a lot. Yeah, I got in trouble a lot at
For
school.
what?
For talking too much, for being out of my seat, for disrupting class, for not paying attention, doing my own thing. Like I got in a lot of trouble.
Like with the school, with your dad?
School, with my parents, with my dad. Yeah, I got punished a lot as a kid.
And what did that look like?
Well, you have to remember, times are different when we were kids. I think spanking was the way that parents were able to rear their kids a little more. And so, I got spanked.
For being a kid?
For being a kid that was...
Different.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. But once again, now as an adult, it's hard to be able to give your time to a child that is chocked full of energy and running wild. Man, I tell people all the time, I'm blessed. Yes. So my son doesn't have ADHD. At least not like I did. And I think that was my greatest blessing. I seriously don't know how I could have handled someone like myself, because it's a lot. I'm a lot. Like, I get it. And I'm a single dad with a full-time business, and I take care of the house by myself. And if my son wasn't as calm as he is, I don't know what would happen.
Doesn't every child deserve someone who can see them and accept them?
Yeah, which is nice, and that's why you have grandparents, because your grandparents will always treat you a little nicer because they're not as busy as your parents. And it's like I tell people, your parents' job is to raise a kid. Your grandparents' job is to spoil the grandkid. Like, you take turns. However hard my son thinks I have been on him or will be, I'm going to be the biggest teddy bear in the world to my grandkids, because I don't have to raise him. You do. I got to take my turns. I get it. I get how it works.
Like, I don't think there's any bad kids.
So working as a counselor for several years, there's not. There's kids that had bad breaks. So I used to work with a client who was an alcoholic and was smoking weed and was dating a felon, and they took her child away. And everybody was so upset because in their mind, it's so easy to stop smoking weed and alcohol. Like, if you have a problem with meth, that's going to be hard to quit. But in everyone else's eyes, weed and alcohol is no big deal. But her mom was a crackhead, prostitute. They used to beat on her and do all kinds of other horrible things. And we had a nice talk one day, and I got a chance to understand her thought process. And she said, Edward, I'm doing better than my mom did. Isn't that enough? I said, I guess it is. My kid could do better than me, and then the cycle is broken.
No.
I said, I can't argue with that. Yeah, you're not a crackhead prostitute, but you're not someone that your daughter could look up to. Like, you're right there in the middle. I go, do a little better or stay where you're at. It's up to you. But your child is better off than you were. Yes. I can't argue that. And so I always tell people it's your perspective that if the child's doing better or what someone is getting. If you grew up with nothing and someone gave you a burger, you're rich.
Yeah.
If you grew up with everything and you got nothing, then you feel worse off than ever before.
I can't imagine what it must have been like to always be getting trouble for just being who you are.
I'm 46 now and it still happens. There'll be people that come into the facility and they'll be asking questions and you know, maybe I make a face or I give a rude comment and that's it. They'll never come back. Or they'll leave a horrible Yelp review. And it's like, man, I'm not being mean. It's just, that's who I am. My voice comes off rude. My voice comes off aggressive. I make faces.
I want to get in, I want to get into like that as you as an adult, right?
Yeah.
But you know, more so I'm speaking to that like listener with a child like who they may be trying to make conform because they're always not towing the line and not being as the society, you know, wants them to be, and maybe just hear a different perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were not doing it to be something or get something. You were just,
I was just walking around, minding my own business. And that's what came out.
Did anybody see you at that age as a child? Did anybody, you know, come alongside you and be like,
yeah, my grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Yeah, my Papa Henry.
And how did that relationship look like?
That was the safest relationship I ever had.
Safest.
Yeah.
How so?
Even when I made a mistake, I knew he was going to love me. I feel like kids with ADHD make a mistake and they feel like someone's not going to love them for it.
Oh, man.
Because I've done the same thing 12 times. Sooner or later, you're going to be like, I'm done with you. And sometimes we forget we've done stuff. I'll have people ask me all the time, like, do you remember you saying that? I said, no, I don't remember. It doesn't mean I didn't say it. I don't remember. If you remember, then obviously I hurt your feelings and I'm sorry, but it must have been true when I said it. People always like to say you're not right when you say something that's inappropriate. In the mind of a person with ADHD, okay, I wasn't right, but I wasn't wrong.
It wasn't right to say it, but you factually it was true.
Correct.
Okay.
I may not have been right for saying it, but I wasn't wrong about what I said.
I see. Okay, so there's like a social normative aspect to what people are being upset by.
Yeah. I don't think, I think people that suffer from ADHD, we have real big problem with social norms.
Autistics do as well.
I've never been tested, but I would wager a bet that I have some autism. I'm a person who could eat the same meal 8 days in a row.
Okay, that's a characteristic.
Right. When I make my dinner recipes, typically what I'll do is I'll make a certain dish 2-3 days on week 1, and then I'll come back to them again on week 3. And I have a pattern for food.
Okay.
And so I always tell people, like, I might be autistic. I don't know.
Is it difficult for you to tune out certain sounds?
Oh, yes.
That's an autistic trait. Does small talk annoy you?
My handyman, God bless his heart, he's worked so hard for me. every time he wants to explain to me what he's about to do or what he has done, I want to push him away and run as far as I can because I don't care. And then people are like, you're such a dick for saying that. I don't care how it gets done. I'm going to ask you to do something, and you say it's done, and I'll pay you or shake your hand, and we'll go have lunch and call it a day. I don't need the whole explanation. My uncle used to say, tell me what time it is, don't build me a clock. I used to love that. And people are like, you're so mean for that. I'm sorry. It's too much information. I don't know.
This must have really impacted your relationships as well.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm a very critical person.
Critical.
To live with.
Critical of others.
Critical of others, critical of myself.
And whose voice is that?
I would say it was mine, but it's my truth now from all the voices in my head as a child telling me to get better. Right? Teachers, parents, like, stop it, grow up, fix it. Even now as an adult, people stop it, knock it off.
Still.
I can't. I wish I could. Trust me, if I could have changed, I would have changed a long time ago. I swear I would have, but
the whole world of ADHD, autism, and neurodivergence, the public at large has a lot to learn about what that's like. And I could see the emotion when you're talking about your son, but I don't see those things as a deficiency, and I don't think the world should continue to see it like that.
I tell people all the time, I'm the good kind of crazy. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to put you in danger. I'm not going to put myself in danger or harm's way. Maybe a little danger. It's a little exciting. And if you find someone else that you think is a little nuttier than I am, run. Because I swerve that line of nuts and sanity on a daily basis. And thank goodness for going to college to be a drug and alcohol counselor. Thank goodness that I worked in the casino industry for 12 years and seen crazier than I could ever imagine being.
Well, let's go back into your story where, was it just alcohol or was it drugs also?
Painkillers. So
how did that whole thing start?
I think in my 20s, well, I started drinking in high school. I started drinking when I was 16 years old. We would go into the art. So the two rooms were connected, and in the middle of them was a locker room for us in the art class. And so we would go in there and we would drink. There was a few of us.
At school?
Yeah,
at high school?
Yeah, at high school.
Okay.
Go in there and we drink, and then we go about our day.
How do you guys get the alcohol?
I mean, when we were kids, there was nobody around. Parents weren't around. They were all working for whatever reason. Everybody had jobs. We would go pay the homeless guy to go buy us booze. We'd take it from our parents' house. They wouldn't remember. I mean, by the time I was 17, I looked 24, so a lot of times I was able to buy alcohol. That's why as a junior, I was hanging out with the seniors a lot. I just looked older than everybody else.
So you were getting drunk at school. And did any teachers know? Do your peers know?
I figured a few kids probably knew. If the teachers knew, they didn't say nothing. I doubt it. We try to keep it secret as best you could.
And what were you trying to medicate? Now as an adult looking back, why were you doing that?
I tell people it's to quiet the voices. You got voices in your head, and if you want to quiet them, unfortunately, drugs and alcohol are the quickest way to quiet the voices in your head. The problem is they don't stay quiet, and in the process of trying to silence them, you can make a mess of things.
So at a fairly young age, you were trying to quiet these voices, so to speak. Yeah.
I think when I moved out of my parents' house at 18 and into my grandparents' house, that's when things took a change for the worse.
Oh, what happened then?
I think freedom. I think when you grow up as a child of ADHD and a child in general of more rules, more restrictions than you would appreciate or you can fathom, when you get a taste of freedom, you go too far. It's like a guy who's starving for 3 days and you find him and you take him to eat and all he wants to do is shovel as much food as he can down his throat because he's starving. He doesn't realize that's going to make him sick. That's going to hurt his stomach. He's got to start slow and go easy. But he can't because he's been void of food. And as a child of ADHD, I was void of freedom and ability to make choices and do what I want. Someone was always telling me, no, stop. So finally, when there was no one around to tell me no or stop, I said, let's go. All gas, no brakes. And what I would say, I had more fun than I should have. But it was a learning process.
So you found this freedom, I'm guessing from maybe your dad and his household, and you sort of just went wild, partying and stuff.
Yeah.
And what was the result of that?
Probably ruined countless friendships, wrecked a couple cars, found myself in jail. You know, nothing good comes from that. Once you start with alcohol and drugs, it can turn very messy very fast. And I think that's what helped me as a counselor when I became a drug and alcohol counselor, is because I understood where you're at right now. I get it. But the choice is to turn it around or to keep on going. And I remember something I read, a poem or something, and it says, when you're walking through the storm, if you keep going, it's going to end sooner than if you turn around and try to walk back. And so I decided to push through and to make a change. There was a night, I'll never forget it. A couple days before, they had broke into my house and they robbed my mortgage money. And so I would pay the rent to my dad and he would send the mortgage because the house was under his name, but I was renting it, buying it from him, however it may be. And so I called him up and said, bro, I don't have the money. I'm sorry. They broke into my house. And he goes, bullshit. They didn't break into your house. He said, I know you drank it, you gambled it, you drugged it. I don't give a fuck. Get my money. I said, no, bro, I don't have it. They broke into my house. Like, my buddies are here. So I start to get upset, I start to get angry, and I'm like, bro, if you want to come get it, come get it. Like, we'll figure it out. Like, I was ready to fight. I was mad. Like, you don't believe your own son, I get it, but why would he? I had lied to him so many times in the past. I'm like, why would he believe me now? So as he's driving over there, my buddies are trying to talk me out of it, and he's go take a walk. He goes, I'll be here when your dad gets here. Go take a walk. All right, Andy, thank you so much. As I'm walking, mind you, the park is about a block away from my house. I walk to the park, it starts to rain on me. Of course it starts to rain. It's the worst day of my life. I'm arguing with my dad, I got robbed. Let it rain, do it. Now they start calling me, looking for me, they're worried. I appreciate that, but I need a minute. Like, this last 10 years, I've been nothing but an alcoholic. I've been popping painkillers because my back's hurting. I got hooked on the painkillers. I said, man, I don't know what I'm doing. So I walk in the back of the park and I sit down and I just lay down in the cement while it rained on me at 9 o'clock at night in the freezing cold. And I'm laying there and I go, what am I going to do? Are we going to get up? Are we going to get our life together? Are we going to kill ourselves? Are we going to keep going with drugs and alcohol, like, what are you gonna do? Like, this ain't you. And so I lay there for a while, and symbolically I opened my mouth and pretended to drown myself with the rain. And I said, no, man, there's something more. There's something inside of me. I got to figure it out. And then when I got up, I walked home. My good friend Kenny was across the street, and he's putting his stuff away, and he's looking at him. What are you doing? I said, I'm going home. You okay? I said, I will be. Walked home, poured out all the booze from my house down the drain, and said, let's figure this out. And changed my life.
That was rock bottom for you?
That was rock bottom. Yeah. I had cheated on my girlfriend at the time. I owed my bookie $3,000. I didn't have the mortgage on me. I remember the day before, I was in the restroom brushing my teeth with the lights off, and I looked up at the mirror, and I had to take a second look because I didn't recognize the person in the mirror. I was all yellow, my skin was puffy, my eyes were all black. I said, man, I picked the perfect time to stop, because I didn't recognize who I was.
Thanks for sharing that story. You had also mentioned getting fired from the casino.
That was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and the worst thing that ever happened to me, because that was a pretty good job and I was pretty good at it. Unfortunately, at that time, my son's mom and I had split up. She wasn't as helpful raising our child as I would have liked. Now, I got out of work at 10:45. I would come home. I would feed my son, put him to bed at 12. Wake up again at 2 to change him. Wake up again at 4 to feed him. Wake up again at 7 to start our day. So I wasn't getting much sleep. And I would do that 7 days a week. Like, maybe once in a while she would get up and help. But it was too much. And for content, now she was Chinese and she grew up in China. And when she was born, they sent her to a nanny for like for 6 months, right? And we also did that with my son. She went to go live with a nanny for a month with the baby so she can get help. So that was what was custom to her. It wasn't custom to me. Like, it was very upsetting, and that drove a relationship, a gap in our relationship for certain, because I was like, bro, this is our son. You need to take care of him. I don't know if you have postpartum depression. Do we need to get you to the doctors or what? No, this is the way it is. This is my culture. All right, well, that's not working for me. So we ended up splitting up, and now here I am working 2:45 to 10:45, and I have to take my son to the babysitter. Okay, well, the babysitter says, hey, if you don't pick him up by 9:30, I'm going to keep him overnight, and I'm going to charge you extra. Wait a minute, I get out of work at 10:45. How am I going to pick you up at 9:30? Fortunately for me, in a casino, there's always a way to get an early out. If nobody wants to leave because they need to make some extra money, they'll let you leave. Maybe you bribe your supervisor with $25, he lets you sneak out. But I was using my FMLA, Family Medical Leave of Absence. And I was using it due to my back, because my back was really bad. I couldn't tie my shoes at some point. My back was so bad. When I went to the doctors, and they finally did an MRI on me, my L5 and my S1, the two lowest discs, were almost rubbing. Mind you, I'm 28, and they're talking about fusing my back at 28. And I'm like, no. Like, we got to come up with something else. So with the FMLA, I was able to leave at 8:45 enough times where I was not getting charged for the babysitter. But you can only use that for so long, and they got tired of me. Like I said, I was a drunk. I was arguing with all the other floor men, because everybody there's greedy. Everybody wants to make money, and it was pretty much a free for all at that time. The coworkers were all sleeping with each other. We were all drunks. We were all partying all the time, having fun. And it was too much.
Mm.
And getting sober there was interesting.
I bet.
Getting sober while working at a casino was tough. But you got to push through it. I got to eat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Coach, before we go on with your story, we ask each guest to bring an item with them.
Yes.
What did you bring with you today?
Okay, so I brought the medal from my LA marathon that I completed. I forgot what year this was. 2018? Should say it. Yeah.
Awesome. You did a LA marathon.
Yes.
Okay.
26.2 miles.
Grueling, huh?
It was probably one of the tougher things I've ever done in my life. But it was also one of the most rewarding to be able to accomplish something.
So what made you want to do that?
Once again, I go back to the ADHD. We don't complete things. We'll start projects and we'll stop projects. And we always say we're going to get back to them, but we don't. So I think it was for a birthday where I asked my father to buy me into the marathon. And everybody laughed at me. There's no way you're going to do that. I said, I will do that. And so for several months I trained. And I even got up to be able to run 13 miles without stopping. So I knew I was good. The marathon's in March. So in November of 2017, I had gotten sick. I took a couple months off training. December, it was raining. I didn't want to run in the rain. Then January, went on vacation. So February, I was like, oh my God, I have to run this thing in March, and I haven't been training for the last 3 months. I did a little jogging. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna gut through it. I'm not gonna try to train for 3 weeks and get hurt. I'm gonna gut through it. So the first 13 miles I was able to jog. And then after that, it was a long, grueling walk. It was 8.5 hours to complete the 26.2 miles. And all along the way, I'm getting text messages from people saying, hey, if you're not gonna make it, I could pick you up. Hey, if you wanna quit, let me know. Even my dad says, hey, retired pal, I'll go get you. That's when I learned that anger can push you so much further than love in life. Because all those people that doubted me was just like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to make this.
There wasn't one voice who was like, you're going to make it? Not one?
Oh, I mean, along the way, I had people going, you got this, keep going. But the strangers, the people on the streets are the ones that keep you going. There's nothing greater than absolute strangers cheering for you that can inspire you. Like, strangers will cheer for you harder than people that know you. Because there's no animosity against you. You haven't said anything to this person. You haven't done anything to this person. You haven't upset this person. They're cheering from pure joy, pure pleasure, pure gratification of just trying to help someone complete this daunting task. And it's like the community cheering for you. It almost feels like you're in a baseball game and 100,000 people are there cheering for you. Because there's all the strangers are lined up on the road, giving you water, ringing their cowbells, cheering for you, rooting you on, giving you snacks. Mm. And it's an inspiring thing to feel.
Did you run it all by yourself? Like nobody ran it with you?
Correct. Yes, I did by myself.
Wow. And that's the inspiration for the name of your business?
That is the inspiration for the name of my business. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Awesome.
Because that's baseball. You're not going to get better in one day.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for bringing that in.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, we're going to get back to your story, but before that, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh.
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Coach Buck. Before the break, you were telling us about your marathon journey there. Thanks for sharing that. Before we get back into your story, though, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers, and they're just a little fun way for the audience to get to know both of us a little bit more. So
Okay.
I'll be answering as well. Coach, what is your best scar story?
Scars. My nose.
Your nose.
Yeah. It's hard to see, but it's real purple right here.
Okay. How'd you get that?
My sophomore year in high school, in the middle of a basketball game, I went up for a rebound and felt an elbow crush my face.
Oh.
Now, if I go off to the left, when I went to touch my nose was crooked, sideways. And I freaked out and decided to push it back and snapped my own nose back into place.
Oh. That felt good.
It was painful. And worse off, I had to go shoot free throws.
Oh.
And my eyes were full of water. I couldn't see. I airballed both those free throws. Everybody was laughing at me because I was not a good basketball player. So it wasn't uncommon for me to miss a free throw, but it was embarrassing to airball both of them.
Oh man. Okay. So your nose looks straight, but you still have the purplish.
Yeah, it can bend sideways one way and not the other.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay. I don't know if I actually shared this story on the show before. I have a scar here on my. Well, should I share that one? Oh, okay, I'll share this one. When I was 16 years old, it was the summer before my senior year in high school, and I was invited to try out for this team called the Yonsei team, which travels to Japan to like there's an exchange, right? Tryout. That doesn't mean I would have made it, but I was excited for that opportunity. And my friend, who I grew up with here, her name is Melissa. She and her family moved to Moreno Valley, so I didn't see her that often. So she invited us to go out there. I went out there with my friend. She had her boyfriend with her, and we went to Lake Paris to do jet skiing. I'd never been on a jet ski before. She's been on it, so I'm just getting used to it. I got my friend Kenneth on the back, and she takes off, and she's like, and I'm just, cruising along trying to get this thing going. And you're only supposed to go one direction in the lake.
Right. So
I see her making this huge loop, and she's coming back. So I'm going. I see her coming, right? And I turn my head, and she's like right there, 30 miles an hour, like headed right to me.
Oh no.
I just I turned my head, I braced, boom, hit my leg, bounced off, and we were still upright. And my friend Kenneth was like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And the pain was so intense.
Yeah, you don't feel it.
I just tipped the jet ski over and I went into the water. I thought I was going to drown because I couldn't move my leg. Good thing I had my vest on, right? Kenneth is stabilizing the jet ski. I climb back on. I see his eyes looking at me, and he looks at my leg. I was like, I don't even want to look at my leg right now. Anyway, it had punctured a hole. You could fit maybe a whole cigarette butt in there and not touch anything.
From the nose of the
I don't know. I don't know what did that. They got me to shore. I went to the hospital. It was they injected me with some antibiotic. They couldn't sew it up because they were afraid to sew bacteria in there. So they had to let it bleed for a month.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That's crazy. So now I have this round, weird,
dense indentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. That was, and so I didn't get to try out for that team. That was the first thing I thought of when I got back to the shore. Yeah. I laugh now, but that sucked as a kid.
Right.
So if you're watching or listening, what is your best scar story? Let us know in the comments. So Coach, you shared with me when we first talked over Zoom that you had this idea that sort of started in your backyard after you had gotten divorced. Share that with us.
So here we come to the end of the baseball season. It's June 2021, I believe. And the head coach ends up not wanting to coach no more. And I had gotten to a bit of an argument with the principal a couple weeks before. So I had informed them, if the head coach quits, I'm not going to take his job. I'm really at this point tired of arguing with parents, fighting with people to believe that I can help you get better. I can, 100%. You've seen it the last 2 years. And so...
This is at South El Monte High School.
Right. So the first year I coached there, the kids didn't know me. So walking into a new team where the kids don't know you, it's hard because you got to earn their trust and respect, and you have 3 months to do it. And there was 2 kids that believed in me. One of the kids' name was Michael. I can't remember his last name. But the other one was Mario Zamudio. I don't think I would be here right now if it wasn't for that kid. Because he trusted in me. And his improvement his senior year was enough for other kids to look at me and say, okay, maybe this nutcase knows what he's talking about. Because once again, I get it, I'm a lot. And it's hard for people to maybe believe in me because I'm a little crazy. So because Mario believed in me, the next year, one of the worst hitters on the team came up to me and he's like, dude, I'm ready. I go, okay, man, if I'm going to invest in you, I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue with your dad. We had issues last year. You're going to listen to me. We're going to do this. I'm going to make you better. And we're going to have a good time. And he said, you got it. His sophomore year, he batted 0.87 or something like that. Like he's not even hitting 1 time per every 10 at-bats. He's getting 1 hit every 20 at-bats, essentially. So we go to work. By the end of his junior year, he was batting over 500, which means he's getting 5 hits every 10 at-bats. The kid was getting 1 for 20. Now he's 5 for 10. He's our offensive player of the year. I'm pumped for him, talking about I'm going to get you to college next year. I'm talking to the other guy, Armando Huizar, I'm going to get you to college. Like, I got you guys. It works. We're going to get there. And then Efren decided to quit. And I said, I'm out. The senior year, I go back to watch the kid in the playoffs, and he's sitting on the bench. The senior year playoffs. So what happened? Now I know what happened. He struggled. But here's an example of why I get myself in trouble. Is his dad's there. And his dad was busting my chops the whole year before. And helped run me out. Like, you were just too much for me, bro. Like, you saw what I did for your kid and you still didn't trust in me. I said, hey, how come your kid's not starting? He goes, ask the coach. Now, me being the petty man I am, I said, I don't need to ask the coach. Let me look up the stats. Oh, he's only hitting 130 this year. That's not good. I said, how come he can't pitch? So I let him look up his stats. Oh, he's not pitching good either. The dad next to me says, bro, don't do that. I said, his son would have gone to college if I would have stuck around another year. I have no doubt about that. But he didn't like my style. He didn't get me. He didn't understand me. So because of those things, I wasn't the proper person to coach his son. Forget the fact that I made him or helped make him. I don't want to take all the credit. He still did the work, right? I transformed him into the better ball player, and he put the work in to earn and deserve what he got. And when I took the coach buck factor out, it didn't work out for him the same. And so because of that is when I realized that all these people that have been doubting me, all these people that are saying I can't do it, they're wrong. I just did it. I did it in Little League. I did it in high school. I know what I'm doing. And to me, that was good enough. Like, I don't need a coach no more. I've already proved that I know what I'm doing, that my swing works, and I'm cool with that. If you guys don't want me around no more, that's fine. Because the next set of parents coming in, those are all my son's age. And those guys were going to make my life even miserable if I would have stuck around and coached longer. Because we already had issues. So I said, nope, I'm good. And I went home and I went on OfferUp and I bought an umpire setup. And I posted on my SGV travel ball. My name is Edward Maldonado. I've been coaching for 27 years, and I want to be an umpire. If someone is looking for someone, let me know. I get a message the next day from Monterey Park Little League. The guy says, hey, Edward, you want to do 5 games a week? I said, bro, you don't know if I'm any good. He goes, that's all right. Umpires right now aren't that great anyways. I'll gamble on you as long as you're willing to show up for 5 games. I said, I have to, man. I'm broke. I just went through a divorce. I got bills. I'm on my own. I got to come up with an extra $1,500 a month now. I'll be there 5 games on Saturday. For the first time in my life, I had to tell my son, I'm going to miss your game. I think that was the hardest part, missing his games. For his first 12 years, I did not have a real job. I shouldn't say that. I was working in jobs where I could leave. And when I stopped in the drug and alcohol field, I started doing Uber, DoorDash, Amazon Flex, anything I could that I would be at all my son's events, never miss a game, always be at practices. Whether you want me there or not, I'm going to be there. And so I did that. So when I'm umpiring now, if the games are on Saturdays, I got to miss some games. I told my son, sorry, man. I'll be back. I got to go make my way. Now, from umpiring, I get a second call from my buddy, Coach Mike, who, when I was doing my travel team the nights, we would play them because we weren't that great and they weren't that great, so it was perfect for us to develop. So he calls me up and says, hey, Buck, you're umpiring now? I said, yeah. He goes, you're my ump. You were always a good dude to me back then. Come be my umpire. I said, thank you. I'll see you on Sunday. So now I'm booked Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm a pretty good umpire. And I get more and more, and people are calling me. Hey, I'll pay you extra not to take a game with those guys. Come do it with me. For reals? Yeah, man. You're good. You're good. All right, cool. People ask me, who do you work with? I said, I'm an independent contractor. I made my own cards. It was Buck the Blue. Because everyone likes to say F the Blue, so I thought that was funny, Buck the Blue. And that stuck with people. Call Buck, call Buck. Now, in March of 2023, an old player calls me. I used to coach him. When I graduated high school, I started coaching the football team the next year. This young man, Chris Hernandez, was on the team. He calls me up, says, hey, coach, can you coach my son? I'll never forget it. I told him, Chris, leave me the fuck alone. I'm tired of coaching. I'm tired of people not believing in me. I don't want to do this no more. I just want to be a dad, hide under a rock, and sit in the stands. And Chris goes, you can't do that. My son needs your help. And I want to tell people that my coach coached my son. And I go, dude, am I that old? Like, what? That sounds cool, though. I want to do that. I'll meet you at the park. Give me $20, and I'll fix them. So I go down there. We have our lesson. Unbeknownst to me, people are driving by the park, and they see me. So the next day, I get a phone call from a parent saying, hey, can you work with my son? I said, you know what? I'd love to, because when I was umpiring, I saw your son pitching, and I knew I could fix him. So I'd love to work with him. Then I get a call from Chris's team saying, hey, do you want to guest coach? I said, what the heck's a guest coach? You're going to come to our field. You're going to coach our kids. You're going to teach our coaches a couple tricks, and you go home. Hell yeah, I'll do that. I get a third call and a fourth call. Within 2 weeks, I'm working with 7 kids. Football season starts to roll around. Daylight saving starts to roll around. I'm working with 17 kids a week. What are we going to do now? It's dark. I'm going to get kicked out of the park. Football's here. I go to offer up. What's the first thing I see? A batting cage for sale for $2,300. I just had a litter of pugs that I sold for $2,000. So as broke as I am, I'm sitting on $2,000. I called the guy up. I said, hey, man, I guarantee you everybody's been trying to piece it out. Let me give you $1,800. I only got $2,000. I got to spend $100 on a truck. I got to give my buddy $100. Will you take $1,800? He says, yeah. Got it. Friday, Miguel, let's go. Pick up my buddy Friday morning, drive out to Jurupa Valley, disassemble a whole batting cage, put it in the truck, take it back to the house, reassemble it. Saturday morning, I said, come to the house. We're not at the park no more. Monday, I go out, I get tarps, I get canopies, I get cushions, I get chairs for the parents. I get a heater at some point. Like, I have my backyard hooked up like a professional batting cage. And I'm running 20 clients, 30 clients. I said, what the hell's going on? I said, where are you guys coming from? Emerson Kwan. Emerson Kwan helped rocket launch my private coaching business. Emerson Kwan was playing baseball at Temple City, National, and Monterey Park. And when he was 7, he struggled, right? Most kids struggle at 7. It's a hard game. His mom brought him to me. His 8-year-old baseball campaign was probably one of the better ones a kid could have. He batted .700 at both parks. And all these parents are looking, how did that happen to him? Coach Buck. This is where I get introduced to Danny Chang. Danny Chang brought his son Paxton, who's not very athletic at the time. And we worked together. And his son gets better. A month later, I get a call from Chris saying, hey, coach, I want to open a batting cage. I said, you can't do that. I want to do that. I said, why don't we partner up? I go, look, Chris, there was a guy who tried to open a batting cage in our city a year ago. He almost got divorced. He sold his business. If there's one thing I know, you cannot have a full-time job. You cannot be a full-time father and husband and have a small business. Something's going to break. That's just too many things to do. I go, we'll go partners. I'm divorced. My son's in high school. Like, he's too busy for me. I'll run it. Let's partner up. We'll put some money in and let's do this. My lessons, they'll take care of a lot of the bills. We'll figure it all out later. Like, your son is the reason why I'm here. Your phone call is the reason why I'm here. Let's do this together. So January, 10 months later, I cash out my 401k, $40,000. The lady on the phone says, dude, if you don't touch this money, you'll have $250,000 when you retire. I said, I'm trying to get $250,000 in the next 10 years. Not when I retire. I am going to bet on myself. If there's any person on this world I'm willing to bet on, it's myself, because I won't quit. I have no problem. So the lady says, fine, I'll send you a check. The check shows up. I call Chris. I said, we're good to go. I'm sitting. This is going to hurt. I'm sitting on my bed looking at this check. This is the biggest check I've ever seen in my life. And my son walks by. And I'm sitting there crying. I'm risking everything. And I know I'm a lunatic. I know I'm a lunatic. But I don't care. I'm going to risk it all. So my son's like, what's the matter? I said, bro, if this don't work, I got to live with you when I'm old. Like, this is everything I got. It didn't take him but 2 seconds to say, it's cool, you can live with me. But I don't think you'll have to. I said, I don't think so either, bro. I'm going to do this. I cut a check for $30,000. I want that building. We're going to make this work. And we're going to go. With the bumps and bruises that come from a small business, there was delays. And unfortunately, my original partner, Chris, wasn't able to make it to the grand opening. And he had to pull out. And always in the back of my mind, I knew that there was a possibility because he was just too busy. And as detrimental as that was to us, once again, life works out for me. On Wednesday, Danny Chang and his son Paxton referred me a new client, Michael Chen, Judy Chen, and Ethan. And on Wednesday, I work with Ethan. And I ask his dad, what's the problem? He says, I used to play D1. I can't coach my kid. I got all the tools. I can't coach my kid. I said, everybody goes through that. It is hard to coach your kid. We yell at our kids to get good grades. We yell at our kids to be good citizens. We yell at our kids to clean the house. And you want to yell at your kid as his coach? Something's going to break. Like, I wanted to run my dad over with a car many a times as an athlete because it's just too much. Like, there's got to be somewhere where you're not yelling at me. And I tell parents, do your best not to coach your kids. Let someone else, because it puts a strain on the relationship. I stopped coaching my son at 12. I didn't want to be that. I want to have a friendship. So here we are with Mike and Judy Wednesday. On Thursday, the kid goes out and gets 2 hits. On Friday, unbeknownst to me, Mike calls Danny and says, hey, does coach selling any shares? Russell, I met these guys 24 hours ago. They're ready to buy in. Chris calls me on Saturday, says I'm out. I talked to Mike and Judy on Sunday. I said, hey, I heard you guys are interested. By Tuesday, they're buying a big chunk and they're giving me a huge check. I said, you guys know nothing about me. We're going to gamble with you, bro. I go, that's the best bet you ever made. You ain't going to lose your money. I ain't going to lose my money. And here we are.
Yeah.
With all the trips and turns and trades.
Congratulations. Yeah. So what has that grown to now, your batting cages?
My batting cages has grown, man. God bless America. It's a beautiful thing. So one of the first things I did was I hired an assistant coach. And it wasn't easy because I needed someone not like me. So when I coach, I'm a bit of a bully. I'm hard. I'll push you. There's a soccer coach, Jose Marino, who one of his greatest quotes are, nice guys don't win big games. You got to be a little gritty. You got to be a little rough. You got to have that little dog in you. So when I coach my kids, I push them. I make little jokes. I make fun of them little. I rough them up. Hands-on, touchy. But I also show them way more love than anything else. And they respect that. They appreciate it. And we develop a pretty good bond, me and my athletes, which is really cool. So when I found Coach Junior, he was a girl dad, which is totally opposite of me. I'm real hard, and he's real nice, real kind. I said, you're perfect. Because there's kids that didn't want to work with me. There was a young man, Billy, who my methods weren't working well with him. And I told his parents, look, and I can't work with your son. Like, he doesn't like that I'm a bully. That I'm a bully. I can't change that. If I could, I would. But right now I can't. I don't know. I'll develop as I coach more. So the first thing I did was when I hired Coach Junior, I called Billy. Billy, come back. God bless America. The next thing I did was I found a travel ball coach. And who do I call? I call my buddy Mike, who gave me a shot when I was umpiring, who was travel ball coaching against me, who I watched him take a team of kids that were average and turned them into dominant ball players. He's got his son playing at South Hills. He's got a couple other kids at Garfield playing varsity, like top Division I baseball programs. This man developed his players over a 5-year plan and turned them into top level high school. So I first thing call, I said, hey, Mike, are you ready to start over? Like, all your kids are in high school now. Let's do it again. Take a bunch of 8, 9, and 10-year-olds for me, man. Put marathon batting cage, and let's do something together. And he's like, yeah, please. I'm tired of my job. I want something else. I go, baseball. Junior was working at Amazon, dropping off packages in 100-degree heat in the rain. I said, get out of the heat, get out of the rain, gamble on yourself. I have, at this point in time, I have 30 people on a waiting list waiting to work with me. I'm working with 45 kids a week, which is unheard of, apparently. I don't know this, but everybody's like, you have how many kids? Like the average hitting coach has 5 to 10, maybe 20. I said, I do 45 a week. 1 week I did 52. 1 month I did 205. Like, I'm exhausted, but I don't want to lose my business. I got bills. All right, let's expand. Here comes Coach Junior. Here comes Coach Mike. I said, now I need some softball girls. Softball was the greatest thing that ever happened to me personally. You can't be as hard on girls as you can on boys. And working with hundreds of girls the last 3 years, I tell people they've melted my grinchy heart. and I love all these girls. I started out with 2, Cammie and Eve from El Monte High School. Their dad was my FedEx delivery guy. He's like, what the hell are you guys building here? I'm building a batting cage. I'm the best hitting coach in the San Gabriel Valley, and I'm going to show the world. Well, I got 2 daughters. I said, bring them. His oldest daughter got 2 scholarships to play at colleges. She ended up going to Cerritos College because she didn't want to go too far. But she had scholarships from Texas, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. She goes, I don't want to go. I'm 17. I don't want to leave. I said, I can't make you. But we got them.
Yeah.
A couple other kids come in later, and all of a sudden, coach is starting to get nicer.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. Thanks for sharing that. We sort of have to wrap things up, but what's one lesson that you learned that you take away from this experience building the batting cages that you want to share, with the audience out there?
It's not that hard. If you want to do something, it's not that hard. Like, I'm a nutcase. Like, my whole life I've been different. I've never thought like people. When I come up with ideas, I'll ask people, is this the craziest thing I've ever thought of? As long as they say no, I'm good with it. It's not? Okay, cool, let's do it. Let's try it. And I built. I started small and I built. And it's hard. And all you got to do is do it. Show up. The first year we were open, I had 7 days off. And people were like, how do you do it? I don't have a choice. This is something I want to do. I want to show kids you can improve. I want to show the world that my technique works. I want to show everyone that ever doubted me that I could make it. I didn't need your validation. Like, my whole life, people told me I couldn't do stuff 6 inches in front of my face. And I said, I don't care. I coached a travel baseball game when we were 13 years old, and I had 4 coaches on the team, and none of them really cared for me. And after the first inning of the first game, one of the coaches gets in my face. He says, what are you doing? You're going to lose? You're going to get fired from your job at the high school? Everyone on this team is going to quit? What are you doing? I told the guy, go sit down or go on the benches. Either you're with us or you're in the benches. And you can say anything you want about me after the game. I don't care what you think. I know what I'm doing. I got this. And it was a long season with those guys.
Yeah, I bet.
But it was worth it.
Yeah. Well, we're because of time, we got to move on with the show, Coach. So we're gonna learn what you like to eat in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Coach, this is called the SGV3, and we want to know your 3 favorite places to eat in the San Gabriel Valley. So, not ranked, just your 3 places.
So, my top 3 places to eat in the area is Taqueria Periman in South El Monte. It's on Chico.
What do you like to get there?
Oh, I like their quesadillas. They made the fresh handmade tortillas. They're really famous for their carnitas. I like their buche. But you can't go wrong. On the weekends, they got live music. They sell beer. I'm a little partial biased maybe because my buddy owns the restaurant, so I've seen him struggle from the bottom and work his way up. So there's a little admiration, a little respect there. But I've always eaten there. I've been buying burritos off him since we were in high school, and he was peddling them out of his backpack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And a second place?
My second place is Dim Sum King. It's on Peck and Garvey. So I was in there one day and I heard the story. So the owner worked for a real famous dim sum spot. And when that owner of that restaurant got interviewed by the newspaper, he gave no credit to his chef. And his chef goes, I appreciate that. I quit. I'm going to go do my own thing. And I was like, yes, I'll be back.
I think I've eaten there. Is it like in a small strip mall? It's just a tiny place. No,
yeah,
not even
pick your
places to
food up
see
and
it.
get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Pick
Yeah.
your food up and get out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there before.
It's so good.
And what do you like to get there?
Oh, I like all of it. The duck feet are always good. The ribs, the spare ribs. I like the dumplings with the leek.
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, awesome. And a third place.
And the third one is Playas de Nayarit. It's also on Garvey. It's actually right across the street from Tito's Market.
Okay. It's
a tiny little ceviche place. Fresh, delicious. I'm real big on the hole in the walls because there's always a good story behind the owners and the families that are there. Small independent businesses. I've always been someone who frequents those, which was another reason why I opened my own business.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing those.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming today and sharing your story with us and our audience. If people want to check you out, take advantage of what you do, or go to your batting cages, what's the best way to do that?
Marathonbattingcages.com. You can find out all the information, book online. You can register. You can always give us a phone call. If you're looking for lessons, you're going to want to direct message us. In order to get a lesson, we have to set up an appointment with one of our coaches. And right now, my waiting list is about 2 to 3 months. My assistant coach junior is full. I'm not sure he has a waiting list, but it'll be a lot easier to get involved with him. If you're looking for softball, I have another coach, Cammie. She was one of my original clients. She's now a coach there for me. So she does girls, hitting, fielding. She can do pitching. I also have Coach Rihanna. She's my head pitching coach. So we're growing. We're getting bigger. I'm helping other coaches get involved. It's been a cool journey.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Hope people go check that out, and thanks for coming today to share your story.
All right, thank you, Russell. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Another episode in the books. I hope you got something from that, as I did. In my own life, I'm learning more about ADHD, autism, neurodivergence, and, here you get to hear an experience of someone growing up thinking that there is something not right or wrong with them, and actually being punished for it. And unfortunately, this is the experience for so many people. I hope that if you have experienced that, and maybe you don't have a diagnosis, or your child is not, what people would expect them to be, that you maybe have a different approach, or encourage the other people in their life to maybe consider something else, that it's okay to be different, and to, maybe there's something else going on, and go get them tested, because having a diagnosis can be pretty powerful for a number of reasons, and it doesn't have to stigmatize, but it can give, some understanding to what's going on. So thank you for spending this time with us. I hope you got something from this, and don't forget, if you want to check out all of our episodes, go to our website, mysgv.net. As always, you can purchase our food passport at mysgvfoodpassport.com. Don't forget to like and share. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No, kind of mother.